Unfortunately, Nibbler got stung by something in the tank, and being so small, unfortunately he didn't survive his first night. Rest in peace, little buddy.
We're the two gay reefers.
Hey reefers, this week we're having a look at Reefzilla and doing a huge big update. It's been a while.
It has been a long time. Lots changed in the tank. We've had some ups, with some downs.
And we're going to go through all that today. So if you've been following us and watching our other videos, you might know that we've had a bit of a battle with nitrates in Reefzilla. Just a little, yeah. Well, typically, like, Reefzilla is still cycling. Just to put it out there, it's still a cycling tank. It's still a young tank. So, of course, we're going to have trouble with nitrates. We sort of expected it. We can see that Reefzilla is on the mend. It's actually improved. So we've lost our share of corals. We've got to the lowest low. Hopefully we're on the way back up again.
Nitrates seem to be pretty steady at around that 10 parts per million. Everything seems to be coming along quite nicely. So,
and I can particularly see the difference now. We did a water change the other day and the difference in the corals are phenomenal. We love this Ningaloo clam. It is so unique, has such beautiful pattern, and you can tell it's a Ningaloo by the bumpy mantle that it has. Really spectacular clam. We've got this lovely gold torch. Now, it's survived through the Red Sea and is still looking good. Put it up close by the clam so it gets lots of light. I find our Gorgonian is an indicator coral. If it starts looking bad, it means nitrates are on the rise. So I always keep a close eye on that. We have this spectacular Pectina. Now, it's not like the Space Invader Pectina. It has several colours, I would say probably about 5 different colours there. And of a morning when I first turn on the lights to feed the fish, we often get this feeding response, which is quite epic. I mean, look at all those tentacles. Now here's a new coral. Here's our Yeti, our Batavia Yeti coral. It's from Western Australia as well and is one of those really extremely furry corals, which is a delight to watch in the flow. We have a little jack-o'-lantern Leptocerus. Now this one survived the Red Sea and finally is doubling in size. Along with a Montipora cap, a green one. It had a little dead piece on which has already healed up in like the week or so it's been in the tank, which is lovely. Over here we've got a little hammer garden. We've got the orange, we've got the green mottle, we've got a few leathers over here as well. And over here we have a little red Goniopora that was fragged from a piece in the jar reef. And it's doing particularly well. Here's one of my favourite corals. Just watching it finally grow is a pleasure. This is the Australian Dallas. This is like the Barley Slimer, one of those beginner corals we have in Australia. And there's a week between these photos and you can see the extension is finally getting there on that one. We have a lovely pink bird's nest. It looks like it has a greenish base with pink tips. We have a fireworks acro as well. Now there's about a week between these shots as well. And you can see all the white spots on there just ready to burst with new branches on that one. We have our Acro Horrida. Now this is a weird coloured coral. It's sort of lilac, sort of whitish in different lighting conditions. Very hardy. We have a blue stag here as well. It's got subtle bluey greeny purple coloration. Really nice and it's extending well. And beside that we have our yellow Pikachu coral. Now this one has particularly improved since we've started dosing. It had actually a lot of brown sort of gaps between all the polyps and they've all plumped up. And this one is actually encrusting on the rock as well, which is great to see. Next to that we have a speckled fluoro talus. Really bright under blues. Another acro which is doing particularly well. This one's actually getting colour on its polyps, so it was quite plain, but now it's finally getting some coloration. Next to that we have a cabbage coral or a cactus coral, a pavona. And another millie, I would think, which is just starting to get a few colours on that. This is where some of the big fish like to sit underneath this one. It's like their little tree. We have a red digitata. Now these are quite rare in Australia. At the moment, they're not native to Australia. There are a few frags finally getting around of that, and it's great to see the community actually sharing this coral. I know it's very cheap over in the US. Over here, quite rare and expensive. We have a little bonsai acro frag, which hasn't done much, but it's finally starting to grow since being in the Red Sea. Finally. We have another bird's nest. This is a pink-tipped bird's nest. This has grown quite well since it's been in the tank. And then we've got a pink bird's nest with green polyps as well on the tips. We have a lovely Cyphastria here. And we're using this to cover the rock that our Christmas tree rock is on. So we've got a very small Christmas tree rock with a few little worms. We're hoping the Cyphastria will cover the rest of the rock and the worms will spread to that part of the rock as well. So fingers crossed on that one. But this meteor shower Cyphastria is particularly bright under blues as well. I mean, look at that colour. It is stunning. This is a new pocky that we've got, a nice fluoro green. I've never seen a fluoro green, such a bright pocky before. Lovely to see from above as well. It's almost eye-wateringly bright. We have what we call in Australia a fairy lights acro. So a lovely purple lavender type acro with bright green polyps. And as you can see from above, it's particularly nice. Has that lovely fairy light appearance there. And then under blues as well, it is absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorite corals. I mean, look at it. It just lights up the tank, really. We have a lovely Lobo down the front, and that is in front of our new trachy garden. So this is made up of inexpensive common trackies, and people don't realize that if you get some common corals that are very inexpensive, when you group them together, they can actually form quite a nice display. So just the different types of greens and the speckles and the mottles in these trackies look very nice together and really impressive under blues. And they're always hungry, these trackies. Maybe that's because the tank conditions have improved.
And what's changed since we battled nitrates? The biggest change we've done to Reefzilla is new skimmer time.
Yes, we decided to pull out the Bashi. Fantastic skimmer. It's for sale. If you want to buy it, hit us up. Fantastic skimmer. Unfortunately, the return pump that we have to run the system plus run that skimmer just wasn't powerful enough.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough flow, and we had two options: either buy a separate pump for it just to run the skimmer, or replace it with a skimmer that we thought looked pretty fantastic. So we looked in depth to this Red Sea skimmer earlier this year, and there was a couple of features about it that really impressed us. Number one was the pump. The Italian-made pump was nice and quiet, absolutely silent, and compared to the Bashi skimmer, the difference is very noticeable. And because the system's in our living room as well, any sound improvement's a good improvement.
Anything we can do to make it quieter is definitely going to help. So that Red Sea skimmer is definitely is a big help there.
One of the other features of the skimmer that I really liked was the cleanable neck with the squeegee in the neck, and the ability to drain the cup without taking it off. That hose is invaluable. I love it. I just open up the valve, drain it into a bucket, tip it out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So much easier to look after, easier to clean, and it actually fits inside the refugium, whereas the Bashi was sitting outside the tank taking up space.
Yeah, now if the skimmer does overflow, it just overflows into the sump.
Yes.
So
No mess onto the floor.
Yeah, which with wooden floors is something to pay attention to whenever you can. So win-win there. So since we've got the new skimmer, we've also been dosing Aquaforest. So we're on the components 1, 2 and 3. I think it's also made a big change, changing where the skimmer is in the system. Before, it was actually being fed by the return pump into the skimmer, and that's it. We were actually dosing the components into the return chamber as well.
Yeah, basically the water goes from the return pump straight up, and it was splitting. Half of it went to the Bashi and the rest went back up into the tank. So in theory, half of what we were dosing into the tank was going into the Bashi, probably being skimmed out of it. So it was probably a bit of a waste.
Alright, so now let's talk about the fishies. First, like always, is Bugs. He's always the center of attention. He's always the center of the tank. He loves the camera, this fish. He absolutely loves the camera. He loves showing off. He just loves the attention, I guess. He's doing fantastic as always. He's just happily swimming around and doing his thing. Next up is Muttley. Muttley is always a really cheeky looking fish. He's always got a really cheeky expression on his face. He's always just popping his head around the corner of rocks and saying, "Hi, I'm here." He's he just stands out, and he just has such beautiful colours in the tank. Next up is these two characters, our two clowns. These two just love their anemones so much. Houdini just spends so much time in the crisper anemone. He's just there all the time. Itchy, on the other hand, well, she will spend her time between the crisper anemone and the bubble tips. But they are just absolute characters in the tank. Next up is Diego. Diego's come so far over the last year or so we've had him. He is such a beautiful fish in the tank. He still looks very shy. He's always sort of looking to say, am I meant to be here? Am I in the way? He's getting so big and his colours are coming out and starting to look really fantastic. Getting closer to his full adult colours, and it's going to be spectacular in the tank. Next up we have Ernie. After the recent loss of Bert, we thought we were going to have some issues with Ernie, but he seems to be happy and content just swimming around on his own in the tank. I think we'll need to get him a friend sooner rather than later, but he does seem to be really happy and healthy and just doing his job, sifting the sand all day, every day. And this is Wally. Wally is a fantastic little fish. To be completely honest, I never really liked the Bengal cardinals when I first saw them. They just looked ordinary and plain and just nothing spectacular in my eyes, but this little guy has really grown on me, and he's definitely become a part of the tank. Now we have Shelly. Shelly is fantastic. She just gets around and cleans all the fish all day, every day. She zooms around and she's just a fast little fish, and she just does her job. And now we have Pika, or Pikachu. He's a bit of a sleepyhead. He never gets up for breakfast. During the week we leave for work rather early in the mornings, and he's still sound asleep. But he definitely chows down at dinner time and has a good old feed during the day. But he's a beautiful fish and really stunning yellow colouring. Watching our videos lately, you'll know we've finally, after so long, got some new fish. If you haven't been watching our videos, check out the links up here. First up is Mr. Pinky. He is a pink-tailed triggerfish. He is a real guts. Bit of a bitey fish as well. You put your finger in the tank and he'll beeline for it, doesn't matter where he is, and he'll try and attack you, try and bite your finger. However, you put your whole hand in the tank and it's not an issue. Which is probably a good thing, because Darren's always got his hands in the tank. And last but definitely not least is Madge, our majestic angelfish. She is absolutely beautiful. She is just so stunning in the tank. Her colours are fantastic. She eats like a trooper. She is just fantastic. She's just such a beautiful fish, and she just gets along with all the other fish. To be completely honest, all the big fish, so Bugs, Marge and Mr. Pinky, all get along really well, and they all seem to be swimming around together all the time.
Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this update of Reefzilla. In my opinion, it is looking fantastic. It's really come along a long way in the last couple of weeks. We're really happy with it.
Getting really excited about its progress too. It's good to see after a bit of a demoralising low, seeing it bounced back so quickly, and the coral's actually looking a lot better and healthier. And with the introduction of the new fish as well, it's just going from strength to strength.
Yes.
Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have,
Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe.
and as always, be excellent to each other and keep it salty, everyone. Bye for now.
See you guys. Yep, and obviously we did a review on the Red Sea Reefer.
Wow. That's a blooper.